everybody, it's Intuitive Robert Ohotto back at you with another dose of truth. Yep, it's your weekly dose of truth, and I've got some truth that's going to hurt so good, baby. This week, we're talking about the I don't give a shit detox. And after I explain this, you're going to want to do this detox too. So, who is this detox for? If you've been feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, unappreciated in your relationships, unreciprocated in your relationships, feeling like you're trying to control life and it's not getting you anywhere, if you're just feeling like you're half-past give a shit and over it, then it's time to do an I don't give a shit detox, where we can learn how not to give a shit consciously. So you're going to love it. Let me tell you how I came up with this and how I actually created this detox for myself. A couple years ago, I had injured this right shoulder, tore my bicep, and had to have surgery on it. And then within a month, I fell and tore the rotator cuff on this shoulder. And then 3 months later, I had to have this surgery done. So basically, for 8 months, I was on Vicodin, going into one shoulder surgery after the other. And by the time it all wound up, it was Christmas. I had gained 20 pounds. I was looking like Santa Claus Jr. and had a hard time sleeping. I was exhausted and couldn't do anything about it. And what began to happen was I stopped giving a shit. I started to look at things in my life and I was like, yeah, I kind of don't give a shit about that. And you know what? Kind of don't give a shit about that. And it became this interesting process where over time, I started to realize I was in this sort of detox where I was not giving a shit about this and that and this and that because I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't do anything in a sling most of the time with my arms both bound up and on Vicodin and, gaining weight. And so what ended up happening, though, that was amazing out of this was I started to realize what I did really most care about. And I realized that what had happened is I had done this whole detox and didn't even have a clue that's what was really in motion at the time. So what I want to offer you is a step-by-step process of how you can do this for yourself consciously. If you're feeling exhausted, if you're just like really over some stuff in your life and you're tired of being pulled around by people and you've got relationships, you're not sure if they're really worth it anymore, things just aren't working, this really might give you some clarity. So this is how you do it. The first thing you have to do is get some part of your journal set up where you're going to write about your experience through the detox itself. And then you need to decide how long do you want to do this detox for. Now, my recommendation is that you do it for at least a week. I think you got to have at least one solid week where you don't give a shit about things and it lets you kind of land in and sink in the clarity of what you do care about. 2 weeks might be good too. But you could try it for a day. Maybe just start with a day if a week feels too overwhelming. And let me be clear, not giving a shit isn't about abdicating responsibilities, basic life responsibilities. So if you have kids, if you've got bills you've got to pay, if you've got things you have to do that are just obligations you really do have to meet, I'm not suggesting you give those up. But I am suggesting that you explore and experiment with everything else. And even with those things, I'm suggesting that you check in with your interior orientation to the attachments you have with them. So even if you have bills you can't pay or things that are going on in your marriage or with your kids, you start to just think, well, what would happen if I just stopped giving a shit about this? And if I just took some time to detach from it through an attitude of not giving a shit. So you've got your journal, then you set your time, and then you actually begin the detox. So how does it look? How does it work? Well, it's really a practice. It's going to take some time to get used to because many of you I know out there, you are so jacked up on caring what people think about you and overly attached to outcomes, and it makes you full of anxiety, very anxious, gets you controlling and perfectionistic. This might feel a little weird, and expect that. It's going to feel funky. So the thing that you do first is you just start exploring and experimenting with, okay, what's it like to not give a shit, to look at something when it's coming at me and someone's bringing to me their usual problems. Many of you may be carrying the problems from other people all the time, and that's the primary way you get your self-esteem. So what's it going to look like if you decide, I'm not going to give a shit about your problems anymore, dude. I'm just going to let you have your problems because I'm in an I don't give a shit detox. This is what it can start to look like. Explore and experiment. Start to identify the parts of your life where maybe it would be just interesting to not give a shit for a while. And then Journal about your experience. Begin to track for yourself. How does it feel? What did it feel like when you stopped being the rescuer in a relationship you're usually a rescuer in, and you decided, you know what? I'm not rescuing anybody because I don't give a shit this week, or I don't give a shit today. What did that feel like? And then over time, really start to pay attention and practice this for a while, and begin to sense later in the detox, the things that you really do care about. Because that's what happened to me. Certain things begin to surface where you realize, you know what, at the end of the day, this really does matter to me. This is something that is important to me. And this is something I want to care about and need to care about because that's what feels true. And then when you begin to discern the stuff that you care about in your journal and the stuff that you don't care about through this detox, then the next task is to let go of the stuff that you don't really care about, because there are so many things, I promise you, pulling at your energy all the time, and your unconscious patterns just go right to them and give energy. And this is a way to summon those patterns forward and become clear on all the stuff all the time you're feeding with your energy that doesn't serve you. And after you don't give a shit, and realize that, you know what, I don't have to give a shit about this. If I don't give a shit about this, the world doesn't stop. I'm still okay. I'm still me. Life goes on. And in fact, I'm more present. I'm more able to put energy towards the stuff that I do care about. So check it out. Just to recap, you're going to get a journal. You're going to set a time frame for your I don't give a shit detox. And you got to keep it conscious, because stuff's going to come at you. And it's going to want you to give a shit to it. You're going to have to say, you know what, I'm on a detox, man. I don't give a shit this week. So you got to then get yourself going on the detox after you start to create the time frame, and then journal through the process. All right, this is interesting. Today I just made a conscious choice not to give a shit about this, and this is what it felt like. And wow, I ended up in the end giving a shit, even though I didn't want to. So you get to really explore yourself in a wonderful way that lets you see what you do care about, because that's what will come out of this. And then after that, try to get a strategy together on how you can let the rest go. And that's it. Try out the I don't give a shit detox. Try it for at least a week, maybe a couple weeks. Make it a practice and see what happens. You can let me know at comments@ohotto.com or on my Facebook fan page. And if you want to find out more about my work, visit ohotto.com. And also make sure you check out my radio show, Soul Connections Radio. I'll be back again with another weekly dose of truth. In the meantime, try out the I don't give a shit detox. I expect it to work wonders in your life and really help you see what you care about most. I'll see you next time. So like, for example, I could care about eating this delicious Reese's Pieces peanut butter cup Reese's something Easter thing, but I'm on an I don't give a shit detox, so I don't care. And I could shave, but yeah, I don't give a shit. And I'm being cash shooting this video. My dog could start barking at any minute. My cat could come scratch me. I don't care. I don't give a shit. So check it out. Try it. And I will see you back here again, and we'll see how you do.